This is the Scorecard, where you score the latest sports news and in-depth views. I'm Anton Roxas.
And I'm Erika, Kristensen-Lee. Tonight on the Scorecard.
Gilas Pilipinas women make history with best FIBA Asia Cup 3x3 finish. 7 ejected in heated NBA brawl during Timberwolves-Pistons clash. In the PVL, Akari stuns Choco Mucho in 2024-25 PVL All-Filipino Conference semifinal opener. In boxing, Melvin Jerusalem retains WBC title, dominates rematch against Shigeoka. Take a look at Filipino tennis sensation, Eala's phenomenal rise. More on the NBA. Cavaliers take down Clippers with big performances from Mitchell and Allen. While Anunoby and Bridges lead Knicks to 110-93 win over Blazers. And get to know Puso Wrestling's bundle of joy, Patricia Ligaia. All the headlines and more on the Scorecard tonight, the 31st of March. Now here's our roundup.
Despite being shorthanded without injured Camille Clarin, the national squad clinched a fourth-place finish in Singapore. Nika Cacho, Jazz Hoson, and Kay Pingol led the way, powering past Mongolia 19-15 in the quarterfinals to secure a spot in the semis. Now, unfortunately, Gilas struggled to maintain momentum, falling to Japan 22-9 in the semifinals before bowing to China 21-11 in the bronze medal match. Now, the loss was compounded by the confirmation of Clarin's high-grade partial ACL tear in her right knee, leaving her sidelined for the coming months. Clarin sustained the injury during Gilas' 21-8 loss to Australia on Saturday night. Midway through the game, despite the setback, the team rallied to overcome a 10-3 deficit against world number 12 Mongolia, securing their spot in the semis with a determined 19-15 win.
In the NBA, what began as a competitive game when the Wolves welcomed the Pistons to the Target Center on Sunday night turned physical in the second quarter, with Detroit leading 37-28. With 9 minutes and 1 second left in the second, Pistons center Isaiah Stewart, known for his tough play, shoved Wolves guard Dante DiVincenzo, sparking a confrontation with Rudy Gobert. Officials intervened swiftly, assessing a technical foul on Stewart. Play continued briefly, but just 20 seconds later, Naz Reid drove to the basket and drew a foul from rookie Ron Holland. Emotions flared as Reid wagged his finger in Holland's face, prompting DiVincenzo to push Holland, setting off a chaotic scene. The incident escalated into a bench-clearing brawl, spilling into the baseline and sending a FanDuel camera tumbling. Even fans in the front row found themselves in the middle of the fracas. Coaches from both sides joined the verbal exchanges, with Pistons head coach J.B. Bickerstaff and Wolves assistant Pablo Prigioni going toe-to-toe. After a 10-minute review, officials delivered their verdict, ejecting 7 participants: DiVincenzo, Reid, and Prigioni from the Wolves, and Holland, Stewart, Marcus Sasser, and Bickerstaff from the Pistons. Now, once order was restored, play resumed, but the league may still hand out additional discipline as the playoffs draw near. Expect further announcements as the investigation continues.
Now, moving on to volleyball, the Chargers overcome Choco Mucho in 5-set thriller. Eli Soyud leads the charge with a career-high 34 points, including 27 attacks and 7 blocks, a standout performance in PVL history. Akari snapped Choco Mucho's 9-game winning streak, handing the Ribisco squad its first loss of 2025. Now, for Soyud, the victory was a true team effort. She felt inspired after her name was included in the wish list for the Gilas Pilipinas women tryouts. Faith Nisperos also stepped up in the clutch, helping Akari erase an 11-14 deficit with 5 unanswered points. Errors from Regine Arocha and Cici Rondina sealed the Chargers' win. Nisperos finished with 11 points, including the game-winning cross-court attack. Said Domingo shined with 14 points, making one of her best appearances in an Akari jersey. Akari dominated in blocking with a 16-6 advantage, Soyud leading with 7 kill blocks, and Domingo adding 3 more. Justine Hazareno proved solid in defense with 25 excellent digs and 13 excellent receptions, while skipper Mitch Cobb led the offense with 24 excellent sets. Despite the loss, though, Cici Rondina stood out for Choco Mucho with 29 points, while Royce Tubino contributed 14.
In boxing, Melvin Jerusalem celebrated as the final bell rang, culminating a masterful performance in his rematch against Japan's Yudai Shigeoka. Jerusalem left no room for doubt, defending his WBC minimum weight world title with a commanding display at the Aichi Sky Expo in Nagoya, Japan. In his second title defense in 6 months, the Filipino champion earned a clear-cut victory, with judges scoring the bout 119, 109, 118, 110, and 116, 112, all in favor of Jerusalem. This result silenced critics, proving his victory in their first encounter was no fluke. The 31-year-old Jerusalem boosted his record to 24-3 with 12 knockouts. Jerusalem's speed and punching power kept the challenger on the back foot. With Jerusalem controlling the pace early on, Shigeoka grew hesitant, struggling to mount any serious offense. After another dominant title defense, a unification clash with Oscar Collazo could be next for Jerusalem. Collazo, who owns the WBO mini flyweight and WBA super version belts, recently retained his titles with a 5th-round knockout against Edwin Cano on March 29, 2025 in Cancun, Mexico. Collazo remains undefeated with a 12-0 record with 9 knockouts. With momentum on his side, Jerusalem is poised for more historic showdowns in the ring.
Back to tennis, because we can't get enough of our new sports heroine. Just how awesome is Alex Eala? Alex is undeniably an extraordinary athlete, so let's break down why she stands out. 1. A true trailblazer for the Philippines, Alex has shattered barriers, becoming the first Filipino to win a junior Grand Slam singles title at the 2022 U.S. Open. 2. Miami Open sensation Alex stunned the tennis world by defeating Grand Slam champions like Iga Swiatek, Jelena Ostapenko, and Madison Keys at the Miami Open 2025, reaching the semifinals of a WTA 1000 event. 3, of course, top 100 breakthrough. After her impressive Miami Open run, Alex became the first ever Filipina to break into the WTA top 100 rankings, proving her growing dominance in global tennis. 4, training at the Rafael Nadal Academy since 2018, Alex has developed into a fierce competitor under the guidance of one of the sport's greatest champions. 5, a family legacy of excellence. Athleticism runs in her blood. Her mom, Riza Maniego Eala, is a Southeast Asian Games bronze medalist in swimming, and her brother, meanwhile, Michael Eala Jr., is a college tennis player at Pennsylvania State University. As a young achiever, at just 14 years old actually, she won the prestigious Les Petits as tournament in France, a launching pad for many tennis legends. Eala is actually set to take home $332,160. Now, if you compute that and the math is mathing, that's actually over 19 million pesos for her semifinal finish, according to the Women's Tennis Association. Reaching the finals would have boosted her winnings to $597,890. That's over 34 million pesos, with 650 WTA points, while a championship victory would have sealed her a staggering $1 million, $124,380, or over 64.5 million pesos, and of course, 1,000 points. Proudly Filipino, despite her global recognition, Alex Eala remains deeply connected to her roots. She uses her platform to celebrate her heritage and uplift the Filipino tennis on the international stage. From breaking records to inspiring the next generation, Alex Eala truly embodies the spirit of a champion.
In the NBA, Donovan Mitchell and Jarrett Allen both recorded double-doubles as the Cleveland Cavaliers defeated the Los Angeles Clippers 127-102. Mitchell put up 24 points, 12 rebounds, and 7 assists, while Allen led the Cavaliers with 25 points, 12 boards, and 2 steals. Evan Mobley also contributed with 22 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 blocks. On the Clippers' side, Norman Powell topped all scorers with 34 points. James Harden added 24 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists. But it was not enough to prevent their third straight loss on a 4-game road trip. Cleveland secured just its third 60-win regular season in franchise history. Fueled by dominant runs in both halves, they opened the game with a scorching 16-0 run in the first quarter, building a 17-point lead. Now, although the Clippers fought back to close the gap early in the third quarter, the Cavaliers responded with another commanding 16-2 run to seal the win.
Meanwhile, OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges each scored 28 points as the New York Knicks took control in the second half to defeat the Portland Trail Blazers 110-93 on Sunday night. Bridges was unstoppable after halftime, scoring 21 of his points in the final 2 quarters. The Knicks outscored the Blazers 60-35 in the second half, shooting an impressive 64% from the field after trailing 58-50 at the break. Josh Hart contributed 14 points, 9 assists, and 8 rebounds for the Knicks, while Karl Anthony Towns added a double-double with 10 points and 11 rebounds. Denny Avdija led Portland with a game-high 33 points, marking his 5th 30-point performance this month. Shaedon Sharpe added 23 points, but the Blazers' offense struggled in the second half, making just 14 field goals. Anunoby and Bridges have stepped up in the absence of Jalen Brunson, who has been sidelined with a sprained right ankle since March 6. Brunson has been cleared for basketball activities and hopes to return before the playoffs. Anunoby has averaged 30.5 points over his last 4 games. The Knicks' dominant second-half surge, powered by Anunoby's and Bridges' scoring, sealed the victory and left the Blazers unable to respond. Now here are the other results from around the NBA.
And here's your daily dose of sports lingo. Which defensive boxing move involves deflecting or blocking an incoming punch? A parry is a skillful defensive technique in boxing where a fighter uses their hands to redirect or deflect an opponent's strike. Unlike a block, which absorbs the impact, a parry requires precision and timing to turn the momentum against the opponent, often setting up a counterpunch. Mastering the parry demonstrates superior ring generalship and strategy. Fighters like Floyd Mayweather Jr. are more renowned for their mastery of the parry, often using it as part of a defensive strategy to frustrate opponents. So next time you watch a fight, keep an eye out for this artful defensive maneuver.
Now it's time for our off-court buzzer. Justin Brownlee, the heart of Gilas Pilipinas, who led the team to victory over world number 6 Latvia in the FIBA Olympic qualifying tournament and helped Barangay Ginebra San Miguel secure a runner-up finish behind TNT Tropang Giga, the grand champion of the PBA Commissioner's Cup, now faces uncertainty. For the second time, Brownlee is under scrutiny for an alleged anti-doping violation, raising concerns about his participation in the FIBA Asia Cup from August 5 to 17 in Saudi Arabia. The Samahang Basketball ng Pilipinas confirmed that adverse analytical finding from a random test. Brownlee is now working with his US-based legal team. News of the violation surfaced shortly after Ginebra's loss to TNT Tropang Giga in the PBA Commissioner's Cup Finals, where TNT emerged as the grand champion. Details on the specific substance and consequences remain unclear. This comes after Brownlee served a 3-month suspension for testing positive for carboxy-THC during the 19th Asian Games. While not performance-enhancing, cannabis remains banned by the World Anti-Doping Agency. Now, as of now, the SBP has made no final decision regarding Brownlee's future with Gilas Pilipinas or in the PBA. Stay tuned for more updates.
And that's our roundup for tonight, the 31st of March. Up next, Puso Wrestling's Patricia Ligaia joins us in the studio to share the joy of wrestling. So watch out for that when we return right here on
The Scorecard.
Welcome back to the Scorecard. Now, don't let the pink cutesy, am I saying that right? Costume fool you. This lady has monster moves inside the ring, and the action she displays truly brings joy to loyal Puso Wrestling fans. Please welcome to the BNC studio, we have Patricia Ligaia.
Hello, Patricia. Welcome to the Scorecard.
Thank you for having me.
Very cute outfit yan, no?
Yep, her outfit trumps your photo shoot outfit, Erika. Welcome, Patricia. You are officially the third Puso wrestler to guest here on the Scorecard, so thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. And for the record, I think you look beautiful.
Narinig mo yun.
They're trained to do that, Erika. They're trained to have witty comebacks. Kailangan mabilis yan. Hindi pwedeng nakatunganga ka lang sa ring, di ba? You have to have a comeback. So that's a good start.
Galing.
Okay, so the joy of Philippine wrestling, that's kind of what you're about. Pink obviously gives off very positive vibes. Paano ba nagsimula yung pagmamahal mo sa wrestling? I know you're a late bloomer.
Yung love ko for wrestling, as you mentioned, I'm a late bloomer. So it started 2018. So 6 years pa lang since then. But from that time, I've done my best to be updated, to continuously support Pinoy and Pinay wrestling. And now I'm here. For some reason, like one thing led to the other. I just joined a pro wrestling preparatory course. And then suddenly I was doing drills, I was doing rolls, and then I debuted around 2023. So now I'm here.
Okay, I want to go back to that moment in 2018 because I know that what fueled your interest for wrestling started actually when you watched a show here in the Philippines, correct? So what was it specifically about that show that made you realize na, you know what, I want to do this. I want to do this also.
I think the thing with that show that made me feel something was just seeing the action like very up close to me. And other than getting to know the wrestlers with the storylines, watching the action, seeing the hard-hitting things happening in the ring, I think it was the community that made me fall in love. When you're a Pinoy wrestling fan, and especially when you're a Pinoy wrestler, you're surrounded by people who have the same love for something.
Right.
And that was something that drew me in. And definitely, I didn't think I was gonna be a Pinay wrestler, but I fell in love with it, and then now I'm here. So.
Okay, let's talk about your in-ring persona because I think this is something that not always lands when one decides to enter pro wrestling. They have to be able to draw the crowd to himself or herself. So this pink hearts. How did you come up with this character?
Well, I wouldn't say it's a character because this is just who I am. When people get to know me in the ring and when they see me outside the ring, like even if you just see me, for example, in the supermarket, you'll see me wearing pink because I really love pink. And I think there's a joy in keeping the things that I love with me in the ring. So that's like the hearts, everything girly. And that's also where Pinay wrestling is coming from. Just the representation of different kinds of women. And I'm just one of those girls that you see bringing the things she loves in the ring.
I love that you said that, you know, putting empowerment in like women empowerment most especially, and hindi din nagtatapos ng March. I mean, it's still naghahabol pa tayo sa Women's Month, right? So in line with this, because it's also Women's Month, as being one of the first few female wrestlers here in the Philippines, what are some of the challenges that you had to undergo as a female wrestler here in the country, and how did you overcome that?
Well, we're still overcoming it. But there's the challenge, as you said, there are just a few right now. Like, of course, we can't deny there have been those that have also trained and debuted before me. But the challenge is definitely growing the scene. So there's me, there's Super P, there's Chelsea Marie, Joya, Crystal, and then newly debuted Ramona. So all of that, we're just 6 in our roster. And don't be fooled. We're actually the biggest women roster in Southeast Asia. So the Philippines is actually doing good progress when it comes to that. But the challenge really is to keep building our women's division so we don't just disappear out of nowhere. Like we've heard stories of that from before, like promotions. I'm part of a farmer company in the Philippines, and it's really just something that you can also see even in the boys Pinoy wrestling, how we continuously push forward and we continuously, for lack of a better term, grind to make the scene known and to keep the industry alive.
I love that. Abante babae. Diba?
Ito kasi pag nanood ka ng iba't ibang wrestling in Southeast Asia, I think in Puso Wrestling, dito mo makikita kadalasan yung sa isang match, may mga babae at may mga lalaki. How's the dynamic? Kasi syempre, minsan, hindi natin maiwasan yung mga lalaki. Sometimes, I'm just saying sometimes, not all the time, they take it easy. But how does that work when it comes to wrestling being a very dangerous and sport wherein everybody has to be on the same page na you have to protect each other out there?
Well, as you said, dangerous siya. But the thing with pro wrestling, especially Puso Wrestling, we know that there's a danger coming into what we're doing. And we also don't really think that, hey, kunyari ako, kalaban ko lalaki. I don't really think na he's gonna go easy on me the same way I wouldn't go easy on him. It's really just the respect that comes with pro wrestling. Whenever we train in the same dojo, we do the same drills, we do the same basic fundamentals, everything that we do. And as cliche as it sounds, there's really no difference between the way we treat women and we treat men in Puso Wrestling. So yes, you're right. Sometimes there are differences like in the way we approach things. But the thing is, most especially in Puso Wrestling, if you think that that's something that should be practiced or upheld, well, you're gonna have a hard time.
Yeah.
Because a lot of us, especially the girls, we give the boys a hard time and they give us a hard time.
Very in tune with Women's Month. Okay, Patricia, do you have any signature moves? What are your signature moves? How did you create them? Maybe you can share with us.
Well, in pro wrestling, most of our signature moves, they stem from our strengths. So, as someone who's very fun and someone who likes to bring my personality in the ring, my signature moves, you can see it being played here.
Oh.
It involves a lot of flying. Sometimes I do this lariat that goes circular, so I spin in the ring. There, that one!
Oh
yeah.
my God.
So, ta-da! That's called my wee lariat.
So it's like a spinning clothesline.
Yes.
For a few seconds, I just visualized myself doing that to Anton on the ring.
Wow! Okay.
Ooh, I'm feeling tension.
That I will say that won't be a good idea. Subukan mo lang, ha? Subukan mo lang, Erika.
Ang galing. How long did you train for this?
Before I debuted, I was training for almost 2 years.
2 years?
Yes.
Wow.
Because I started from Nueva Ecija, which is like 4 hours away from NCR. And there was a time when I would travel from Nueva Ecija, I'd go to our dojo to train, and then I'd go back. So it took a long time for me to digest everything. So more than a year, almost 2 years.
You've come a long way. Parang yung sinasabi nila lagi sa social media, malayo na, pero malayo pa.
Yes.
On a final note, before we end this interview, siguro maraming mga kababaihan na nanonood ngayon and, they're young just like you, they have a dream. What is your message to them with regards to believing in yourself and chasing that dream no matter how hard it may seem sometimes?
Well, I want to say, just go for it. Because personally, like I said, I never really imagined I'd be doing what I'm doing right now. And what's important, which I think a lot of people have already said, is just really taking the first step in doing that. So if you think that it's difficult, for example, to break into a field that's, for example, Pinoy wrestling, that's male-dominated. It's really just doing the first step and existing as who you are, because you'll see the difference between having one Pinay wrestler. Now imagine 6 Pinay wrestlers in a very male-dominated field. So I hope that they can achieve their dreams that way too.
And because Erika was so inspired by that bit, expect her at training this weekend.
Come train with us.
I'm going to need to practice. I'll see you in the ring next week. Just kidding.
Patricia Ligaia, thank you so much and best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
When the scorecard returns, we'll check whose feet are planted on the floor, whose foot is on the door, and who are flight risks in the NBA. So you can keep your eyes on the prize. Welcome back to the scorecard. It's time to keep your eyes on the prize. All right, NBA fans, let's be honest. The games are fun, the playoffs are thrilling, but nothing, and I mean nothing, beats the NBA off-season chaos. The trades, the free agency drama, the cryptic, I love those, the cryptic Instagram posts. It's like a never-ending reality show where billionaires throw around monopoly money. So, with the 2024-25 season winding down, it's time to talk about the real game, who's getting paid, who's getting dumped, and which teams are about to make really bad decisions. We're going through every team's biggest flight risk in free agency because, let's face it, some of these guys already have one foot out the door. Let's go to the Atlanta Hawks. Clint Capella, the odd man out. Clint Capella has been solid for Atlanta, but there's one problem. His name is Onyeka Okongwu. The Hawks want to give Okongwu more minutes, and they're not keeping a 31-year-old center on a $22 million deal just to play backup. Atlanta has options. Maybe they use one of their first-round picks via the Lakers and Kings to find a new big. Maybe they keep Capella at a discount. But odds are he's playing somewhere else next year. A team like Dallas or the Clippers could scoop him up for cheap. Other Hawks who might be gone, we have Caris LeVert, we have Larry Nance Jr., Garrison Matthews. Yeah, those guys. No one's losing sleep over those guys leaving though. Puntaan natin ang Boston Celtics. Luke Cornett, the sneaky departure. Boston spending a ridiculous amount of money to keep this core together. And if new ownership is willing to keep the tap open, cool. But let's be real. Are they really paying to keep Luke Cornett? He's been a decent depth piece, but he turns 30 this summer. And someone, probably a team desperate for frontcourt help, might throw him a little more than Boston's willing to match. If Cornett leaves, does it change the Celtics' title odds? Not at all. But it's one of those moves that seems minor until you're suddenly relying on Xavier Tillman for major playoff minutes. Other potential Celtics exits, Torrey Craig, maybe, don't panic, Al Horford. Maybe he finally decides to stop drinking from the fountain of youth. Let's go to the Brooklyn Nets. They run sharp, the forgotten big. Brooklyn has more cap space than any team in the league, which is wild because they're not even good. That means no one is outbidding them for their own guys, including Cam Thomas, who's a restricted free agent. But what about Day'Ron Sharpe? Sharpe's been solid when he plays, but the Nets have already Nick Claxton locked in at $25 million next year. Are they really paying big money to keep another center? Probably not. If a team like Houston or Chicago throws him a deal, Brooklyn might just let him walk. Other potential departures, D'Angelo Russell, because, of course, Zaire Williams, restricted, DeAnthony Melton. And yeah, technically, Cam Thomas could leave, but it would take something crazy for Brooklyn not to match. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. The bottom line, NBA free agency is like a high-stakes game of musical chairs, and some teams are about to get really uncomfortable when the music stops. So buckle up, because this summer is going to be chaos. Now let's keep an eye and stay ahead of the game with the full lineup of NBA matchups tomorrow.
That wraps up tonight's preview, so you can keep your eyes on the prize. Now, before we go, think on this. From a legendary track coach and Nike co-founder who trained Olympians and revolutionized athletic footwear across the globe, Bill Bowerman once said, "Victory isn't having done your best. If you've done your best, you've won." And with that said, thank you so much for joining us once again tonight. We will see you again tomorrow on the Scorecard, where sports is our business.
And business is our sport right here on the Bilyonaryo News Channel. This has been Anton Roxas.
And I'm Erika Kristensen-Lee. Have a good evening, everyone.
Good night.